Hey guys, welcome back to Ozark Drone Adventures. If you've been following the channel for a while, you know we usually focus on the breathtaking beauty of these mountains. But today, we're flying into darker territory. I'm super excited to introduce a brand new series on the channel, the Ozark Files. In this series, we're taking the drone off the beaten path to explore the weird, wild, and unexpected side of the Ozarks. We're talking forgotten history, local lore, and mysteries hidden deep beneath the tree canopy. And for our very first case, we are tackling the legend that has terrified locals for generations. We're searching for the Ozark Howler. If you grew up around here, you've probably heard some fireside stories. The Howler is rarely described in the same way twice, which only adds to its mystique. Common features include a beast roughly the size of a black bear, but with the agility of a mountain lion or panther, shaggy black fur, glowing red eyes, and prominent horns often compared to that of a goat or a ram. But it's the sound it makes that gives it the name, described as a guttural, terrifying cry echoing through the hollers at night, a sound that is a chilling mix between a wolf's howl, an elk's bugle, and something entirely unnatural. It's not just the sound that stays with you though, it's the silence that comes after. Locals say that when the howler is near, the woods go dead quiet, the crickets stop, the owls go mute, and even the wind seems to hold its breath. It's a heavy, suffocating stillness that tells you, in no uncertain terms, that you are no longer the apex predator in these woods. Now, skeptics will tell you it's nothing more than a misidentified lynx or a black bear with a bad case of mange. They'll say the horns are just shadows cast by jagged branches in the moonlight. But the Ozarks are some of the oldest mountains on earth, carved out by ancient waters and riddled with thousands of unexplored caves. In a landscape this old and this rugged, who's to say what's managed to survive in the dark corners where the sun never hits? While documented accounts are scattered, the first and most famous encounter is often attributed to the legendary frontiersman Daniel Boone. It is said that in the early 1800s, while exploring the Missouri wilderness where Boone spent his final years, he encountered a massive, shaggy, black beast with glowing eyes and horns. According to lore, Boone fired his rifle at the creature, but it vanished into the brush, leaving only its blood-curdling howl echoing through the hills. The stories surrounding the Howler have evolved over centuries, blending with the superstitions of the Scots-Irish settlers who populated the Ozarks. Much like the Black Shuck or Hellhounds of British Isles folklore, hearing the Howler is often considered a death omen. Local legend warns that if you hear the howl 3 times in one night, a tragedy will befall your household. In some remote parts of the Ozarks, old-timers refer to it as the nightshade bear or the ho-ho, suggesting it is a guardian of the forest that only appears when the balance of nature is disturbed. To understand the Howler, you have to understand the 1946 encounter. The war was over, and the American dream was under construction. In the town of Red Oak, Oklahoma, that meant a massive housing boom. For the first time, families were pushing further into the rugged, undeveloped fringes of these hills than they ever had before, clearing ancient timber to make room for progress. But progress comes with a price. Locals claim that by clearing those trees, they had disturbed something that had been there for a very long time. This wasn't just a bump in the night, it was a physical confrontation. Multiple families reported a creature standing nearly 4 feet tall at the shoulder. They described it as a 300-pound shadow, shaggy, built like a massive cat, but with the bulk of a bear, and those signature glowing red eyes. It turns out the folks in Red Oak learned the hard way that the Ozarks have their own version of the Lorax. Only instead of a cute orange guy with a mustache, he's a horned beast with a temperament that says, "I speak for the trees and I'm telling you to get off my lawn."
I am the Howler. I speak for the timber. Leave my hills now, or you'll surely remember. I don't want your houses, your roads, or your docks. I'm basically Ozark's version of a very, very metal Lorax.
The message back in 46 was loud and clear. You can build your houses, but the woods belong to the Howler. The Howler's legend is so pervasive that it once even invaded the church. Local lore tells of a congregation in Russellville, Arkansas, that was so terrified of the beast, they actually installed a stained glass window depicting it. But as you can see, this wasn't exactly standard Sunday school imagery. It was so terrifying, showing the black horned creature screaming over the Ozark Howlers, that a new preacher reportedly had it smashed, calling it a piece of hillbilly idolatry that had no place in the house of the Lord. Of course, in the age of the internet, every legend eventually meets the lens of a camera. In 2011, it looked like the Ozark Howler had finally been caught red-handed. A series of photographs emerged, claiming to show a dark, horned, bear-like creature lurking in the brush of Devil Den State Park in Arkansas. The images were sent to news stations and cryptozoologists by a man named John Myers, who insisted he snapped them during a hike. They were convincing enough to spark a media firestorm for about a week. Sharp-eye investigators noticed that the creature's ears changed shape between photos taken seconds apart, appearing pointed in one shot and rounded in the next. The Arkansas Game and Fish Commission reviewed the images and officially dismissed them as a hoax, citing blatant Photoshop work. It was later revealed that many of these modern sightings were actually part of an elaborate prank. A University of Arkansas student reportedly made a bet that he could fool the scientific community and the media by manufacturing his own cryptid lore via email and fake blogs. But here's the thing about a good hoax. It only works because people want to believe. And while John Myers may have used Photoshop to manufacture a monster, he didn't manufacture the centuries of sightings that came before him. You can fake a photo, but you can't fake the sound that's been echoing through these mountains since Daniel Boone's time. The hoax might be dead, but the Howler, that's another story. Many locals believe Howler sightings are actually misidentified melanistic or black mountain lions. While the Missouri Department of Conservation officially states there are no black panthers in the state, the sheer volume of sightings keeps the legend alive. Flying over the Ozarks in Arkansas and Missouri today, looking down into these deep, inaccessible valleys, it's not hard to see how a massive creature could stay hidden. Is it a misidentified mountain lion? An old wives' tale meant to keep kids from wandering into the woods at night? Or is there really a prehistoric cryptid claiming the Ozarks as its territory? Before we wrap this first episode of the Ozark Files, I want to turn it over to you for today's comment section. Have you or anyone you know ever heard a sound in the Ozarks that you just couldn't explain? Or do you have a legend, myth, or cryptid from the Ozarks you want to share? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed stepping into the weird side of the mountains with me, please hit that like button, subscribe to Ozark Drone Adventures, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next dive into the Ozark Files. Until next time, keep your eyes to the sky and watch the tree lines.